Before I start, we were served with a letter just for housekeeping purposes. We were served a letter that my learned friend has referred to from Smartmatic. It was addressed to the registrar of this court. So for parity of arms, we will wish to also make reference to that letter as we submit. First thing I must say this. IBC, in the report by the registrar, I'll start from page 17. You know the registrar says, forensically captured, compliance task, forensically captured image of the server holding form 34C, not provided. We move quickly to page 21. Virtual server image. All agents were interested in knowing the virtual server creation date. It was established that both the creation and modified date for the image was 31st August 2022, though the technical team at IBC could not locate the correct data store for the image. Very important. Page 22. The agent requested IBC to provide certified copies of penetration tests conducted before and during the election. ICT director and IBC advocate provided certified penetration tests conducted before the election. IBC advocate informed the applicants that IBC did not carry out penetration tests during the election period, citing penetration tests are not conducted during the election. That is very important, and I asked the court to find out why it's important to conduct penetration tests. At page 24, it was noted that the containers running in the virtual machine are actual computers. IEBC declined to share further details on the containers. Ask your expert why they refused, and they'll tell you. At page 25, what was the IEBC password policy on the server? The response, captured by the registrar. IEBC could not display for security reasons. Number 31, the agent wanted to know why the user says logs in from server 192.168.95.64. There was no proper explanation for this issue. The agent requested to know if the antivirus or anti-malware was installed. IBC did not respond. What am I trying to say? Just even from the basic information that was provided to the agents for the scrutiny, IBC successfully exposed how vulnerable our system was. And for the first year, IT students, I'll give you, they can take down note, what IBC gave as the memory. The capacity of the server that was provided. Memory was 6.4 GB. Clock speed was 9.84 GHz. Hard disk was 300 GB. The server specifications that they provided us with is less than even the laptops that we are using here. That is what they are presenting to us, that they were hosting the entire election infrastructure in these elections. It was not possible. Why I've put that image? It's very important we know. I talked about the middleman. Diego Armando Camargo, distributing results. That is the person who you are not allowed to see. That is the person who, when the Supreme Court makes an order to be allowed complete access, to be provided the password policies, that is the Diego Camargo who we are being told you cannot access him. That back office, polling station goes to him. He's the one who sends to the returning officer. He's the one who sends to the National Tallying Center. He's the one who sends to the public portal. He's the one controlling everything. He's the midfielder distributing to everybody the results of this election. What he says are the results. You can now remove the portal. You can remove it, please. Having said that, we must note that as the world evolves, technology in elections also evolve. Previously, when my learned senior, James Orengo, was running in 1979 in Ugenya, people used to stuff ballots and run away with them physically. Progressively, they start changing forms. Now, elections are stolen on technology. That's why I said machines are voting for us. I refer you to a case that I've mentioned in my authorities, Dr. W versus the German Bundestag, where the Germans asked themselves, are the Germans really voting or machines are choosing our leaders? And they said, if the technology does not meet the thresholds of our constitution. Do away with that technology until it conforms. In this particular case, we've demonstrated through the registrar's report that the technology that we deployed in this election, even this Supreme Court cannot access it. This Supreme Court order was countermanded by the letter which I have referred to, dated 31st of August. We would like to clarify that such images contain software owned and copyrighted by Expertmatic and is thus IP protected. Providing full access will infringe our intellectual property rights. This court can make orders even to our most highest National Intelligence Bureau. And those intelligence agencies have provided to our courts under cover or confidentiality their intelligence reports. Why can't Smartmatic do it? Why are they ignoring the court order? Why are they saying we'll not give you? Then they go to Venezuela or wherever they are and keep it to themselves. Are we going to ignore it? I pray that we do not. If it reaches a point that elections are not transparent even to the Supreme Court, and I draw inspiration to the provisions of our laws that provide once a petition is filed, the entire infrastructure of that election, ballot boxes, ballot papers, forms, are submitted to the courts. Ask yourselves, have you been given access or have you been handed over to as a court the entire election infrastructure for the presidential elections 2022? The answer is no. It is in the hands of the Smartmatics, and they've said they shall not give you. Do what you want. On to the scrutiny. And I thank you very much, my lords and my ladies, for allowing my application for Form 34A, Book 2 of 2 to be provided. This is the reason why we asked for that form. And I'll show you the mischief of what happened. In 2017, the basic ground upon which this court was able to expose the irregularities was through the fake forms. Fake forms were used in the elections. Remember, ballot is the currency, forms are the returns of that currency. What did Chebukati do in this election? He decided to print genuine forms in excess. He printed deliberately without a commission resolution genuine forms in excess in all the 46,000 polling stations. They were not needed. What did he end up doing when the party agents raised it? Mr. Chebukati proceeded to send them to all the 46,000 polling stations. All those 46,000 genuine universe, you are now another set. What has the scrutiny disclosed to us? It has disclosed to us that 50% of Book 2 was used. I had requested that we be given Book 2 in the entire country. And the court in clarification said, limit it to the polling stations in Ms. Celestine's affidavit. And I took it. It has confirmed what I believed actually happened.
Mr. Chair, please point us to the report where that is captured.
No, the reports, oh, sorry. The numbers are found from page, the registrar has not given you the tabulation of percentages, but from page 175.
You see, the submission you're making comes from the report.
Yes.
So we'd like to find from the report where that 50% appears. That's
okay, the 50%, if you look at from page 175, sorry. It gets to 50% when you add them. You must do the addition. There are 27 polling stations.
In the report?
The word 50%?
Yes.
I can mention the polling stations.
But it's not in the report, it's your calculation.
My calculation, yes, it's my calculation. It's my calculation based on what the registrars found. Like if you find, for example, Kakamega High School, there was no form provided. For Book 2 was never provided. Bomet County, Gorgor School, polling station 2, not provided. Kasagik Primary School, polling station 1 forms not provided. St. Joseph Kapkerich Primary School, the form was used. Chesentum Primary School, form was used. Kamwai Primary School, form was used. So if you add up from the registrar's report, they come to 50% of those forms that went out. Now, to explain it in a layman's language, because this is very important that we understand, it's like saying, I have printed for every polling station 700 ballot papers. But let me print an additional 700. Then you send all of them to the polling stations. And you issue a gazette notice telling polling stations, when you receive the ballot papers, please return to me 700 untouched. Only use 700. What do the polling presiding officers do when they receive these ballot papers? They decide to liberally use them. So that when you go out to find out where the mischief is, the system is muddled. He has thrown at you so many ballot papers, you cannot know the genuine and the fake. Mr. Chebukati single-handedly directed for book 34 of 2 to be printed. And book 2 of 2 having been printed, it went out to the stations. The gazette notice required it not to be used. It was used, and the registrar's reform has confirmed. How does it work? Let me use a real-life experience of a movie that I watched, because I have time. It's called The Italian Job. Once they conclude, when this gentleman steals and he comes with many lorries, and you can't tell which lorry has the actual cash, similar number plates, similar design, similar make. So it's meant to confuse you, don't know which is the actual truck that has the money. In simple terms, if I steal money on this table, I steal 1 million, I throw 200,000, all of you scramble for it, and I walk out with 800,000, leaving all of you scrambling for the 200,000. You'll never know the magnitude of what I have done. That is the magnitude of book 2 of 2 in our elections. The best example before I cede my time to the court. If you've watched The Wolf, it's called The Wolf of Wall Street. When the star player, at the point of blowing it all up, throws money at everybody because he has now made his ultimate loot. He throws money at everybody, and no one can tell what actually transpired. That is what happened with book 2 of 2 in our elections. That when you start questioning, when you start tracing, you will only be meeting genuine forms. In 2017, when we were questioning, we were meeting fake forms. He threw an extra 46,000 genuine forms into our elections in the hands of people who could not account for them. When we went to look, we were able to demonstrate that 50% of those forms have been used from a sample. From a sample, not denied, either not used or not accounted for, not returned. Are we going to give regime legitimacy after this indicting audit report? I asked this question in the morning. Part of the Supreme Court's function, you give what we call regime legitimacy. The Kenyan people moving in one accord. And nobody has spoke in this court about the margin of victory that is declared. Less than 200,000. After all these muddled figures, after all these illegalities, are we going to say that let us ignore them and give a regime legitimacy to one of the players? I urge you not to ignore your registrar's report. This is too damning. This has confirmed to you that at the end of this process, the only person who could answer the question where the Ponky was going to land was Wafula Chebukati himself. It was not the instruments that were deployed for the conduct of the elections. I thank you very much for the opportunity to appear before you. Thank you for listening to me. And I thank Justice Wanjala today. He didn't respond when I did my monk. Can I donate my time back to the court? Thank you.
You also did not sweat, so we are okay.